All right. What's up, everybody? Okay, so what's up, everybody? You are welcome. Welcome again to Life Growth with Olafisoye Ige. I'm so much excited. I'm always excited to be here. I believe you guys, you are also excited to be here. I'm very happy, especially about what we'll be talking about today. We'll be talking about developing a resilient leadership mindset. I know many of you that you'll be attending today's session, you are a leader. All right. I don't know who said it, that you are born to lead, right? And I personally believe that every one of us, we one way or the other are in a position of leadership, whether in your family, whether in your place of work, one way or another, you are just leading. And I remember there was a particular session I had maybe the last 2 years where we talked about personal leadership. And I remember we said then that the greatest form of leadership that anyone have is leading himself. All right. And I believe since that time, you guys have been leading yourself and you've been leading yourself effectively. But today we'll be talking about something very special. All right. So if you are here and you have a friend that's supposed to be here, all right, so you know what to do, right? So go ahead and invite that your friend. Share this on social media. Start bringing people in. Tell them the webinar has started. All right. Tell them the webinar has started and let's start the momentum. And it is worthy of mention that there is going to be gifts again today. You know, the last time we had this session, we had gifts. And I guess maybe those people that received the gifts the last time should come and announce publicly that they received their gifts. All right. So, but today, we'll also be giving another gift to people that are, you know, of course, if you come early and you answer questions, our guest today is well prepared and ready for your questions. So just like we ask questions, if you have any questions, use the comments box. All right. So without any further ado, I want to play an introductory video for my guest, just to introduce my guest. Then we'll go right into the session. I hope you are ready. Okay.
About the guest, Victor Olushola Kehinde, Sholakeni. Sholakeni is a seasoned IT expert and strategic leader with over 15 years of experience driving digital innovation and business transformation. Recognized as an exceptional global talent by the UK government, he blends deep technical expertise with visionary leadership across diverse projects and sectors. As a governing board leader at Shokeni Solutions Limited, operational in Nigeria and Rwanda, he has led enterprise IT deployments and spearheaded solutions involving Microsoft Dynamics 365, Salesforce, and other SaaS platforms. He is also a certified Agile Scrum Master, known for managing Agile teams and delivering complex digital transformation initiatives. Beyond corporate tech, Shola Kehinde champions digital inclusion and education, having impacted communities through initiatives with World Computer Exchange and WiderNet Project USA, including e-library setups and IDE training for youth and girls in underserved areas. Currently serving as president of Tech Expo Africa, he leads efforts to connect African tech talent with global opportunities, fostering innovation, collaboration, and empowerment across the continent and diaspora. Shola Kehinde exemplifies resilient leadership and is passionate about building solutions that create lasting impact.
Okay. All right. Good evening, Mr. Shola.
Good evening, John. Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon to others in other continents of the world. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, John, for having me. I see it as a great honor to be part of this community and to also share insights.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. I am really, really excited to have you here. I really believe that I personally have been planning on how to, set the stage for your coming, right? And I'm really excited that we're able to pull this. And I really believe that, especially for our audience, those watching live right now and those that will watch later on, whether on YouTube or LinkedIn, I really believe this session is going to be a very important one for them. All right. I believe it's going to be an important session for them that would definitely help them improve their leadership skill, will help them to improve their leadership mindset. So once again, Mr. Shola, you are welcome to Live Growth International. Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you very much. Thank you very much, John. Once again, it's a pleasure to be part of this.
Thank you, sir. You're welcome, sir. So I'm going to leave the floor for you. So Mr. Shola will be, talking to us for the next 20 minutes. I know you guys, you have questions already. I know some of you already sent me your questions. I'm going to take that, but I'm going to give priority to any questions that is asked live. All right. So if you have any question, I'm going to give that priority. So please, of course, you know how we do it here. Tell me your name. Tell me where you are watching from. I will definitely mention that after Mr. Shola's session. All right. So Mr. Shola, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, John. And once again, I greet everyone that is watching this, what we'll call it now, webinar, I guess, or just a popcorn conversation about talking about the mindset of a resilient leader. And just a quick introduction of myself again. I know a video was played just to introduce myself, but just a little bit of introduction. Victor Olushola Kehinde is my name, but I'm often referred to as Shola Kehinde. Currently, I'm an IT business relationship manager in one of the top not-for-profit organizations based in the UK and also in the US. And I'm a product owner, senior product owner. I've also got over 15 years of experience in the IT space. So I see this as a great pleasure and honor to share insights of things I've done, because I've done quite a lot of projects in the IT space. My first 10 years in the IT space, I was more involved in the hardware side of things. So when I'm saying hardware, configuration of network equipment, routers, switches, name it. And then over 5 years, transitioned into the software side of IT. And I'm also going to be sharing insights to why I took that decision in the course of this program. But it was a very critical point, which is part of talking about a resilient leader. What's the mindset that you need to build to be a resilient leader, about being adaptable to change and all of that. So yeah, as wherever you're watching, please feel free to drop questions while I'm talking. I've been given 20 minutes to talk, but I've realized in the last 2 years I'm a man of many words. So hopefully I can try as much as possible to restrict myself within that 20 minutes. And that's why I put together a presentation so that that can help me to focus my thoughts, and then I'm not all over the place. So you also pardon me. I've just completed my home office, so I'm still trying to get my setup right. So I have a big screen where I'll be looking at the presentation so that I don't go out of the focus completely in terms of the points I've put together. But hopefully, the questions will help to stir more thoughts, and I can share more experience as we go along. So yeah, let's get into it and just talk about what does it mean to develop a resilient leadership mindset, right? And the first thing I want us to look at is just a brief introduction about the mindset of a resilient leader. So let's even talk, just let's backtrack a little bit and talk about the mindset of a resilient leader. What are the attributes that make you a resilient leader? And if you look at what I've put there, is a mindset that gives you the ability to lead with what? Adaptability. You're adaptable to change. You've got strength. So we're talking about mental strength here, physical strength, and every strength around your well-being, and also clarity through challenges and change. And that's very important as part of the critical attributes that make you a resilient leader, is always gaining clarity and understanding the reason why you're doing what you're doing. For a lot of my of colleagues that will work together, either as a non-executive director or worked on different projects, one of the things they always understand is that we need to know why do we do what we are doing. Because when you understand the reason why you do what you are doing, it helps you to gain clarity so that whatever challenges you are going through, that doesn't stop you, and it doesn't change you from doing what you intended to do. When we talk about a resilient leader, what are some of the points that I want to put up here is three categories of people. And what I'm going to be sharing is based on my over 15, 20 years of experience. Started in the IT space, went for my industrial training, and that I would always say that that was the best time of my life in terms of learning within that 6 months to expand my scope, which I'm also going to be talking about in the course of the presentation, for us to understand some of the factors that you can leverage to build a resilient mindset. So the three categories of people that I've come to realize in my over the years of experience are: one, people that make things happen; two, people that support things that happen, or people that support people that make things happen; and the third one is people that watch things happen. So I'm going to talk about the first one. And like I said, I think I've got just 20 minutes to talk. So I might have to try and breeze through all of these points, but I'm sure questions can come up and then we can interact a lot more there. So the first set of people I'm talking about here is people that make things happen. So as a leader, before we backtrack to being a resilient leader, if you want to be a leader, one of the things we have to actually be intentional about is always to look out for these three categories of people as you journey through your leadership lifetime. And so when we're talking about people that make things happen, these are people that are resilient. They build that resilient mindset. They have dreams, they have visions, they have that tenacity to identify problems, and they want to create a solution to it. They have that tenacity to identify people that are doing things, and they are looking at how can we collaborate and ensure that we can make this bigger. So that's one of the category of people that I'm spotlighting. So I'm going to use it as my base point to the other points as we journey through this slide. And the second one are people that support people that make things happen. So, you have a friend or you have a family member, or it could be a work colleague that you are sharing with them that, I've got this idea, maybe I want to start a business, or I want to do a not-for-profit, which is just going to be a freelancing out of my 9 to 5. And they are very enthusiastic about it. Oh, can you share more about this idea? I would love to be part of it. How can I support you? They are trying to support you with their resources, their time, and all of that. That's another category of people that you should be watching out for as a leader or as a thriving or budding leader. And then the third category of people you should look out for are people that they just watch things happen. That's all they do. They are not interested in creating things, providing solutions to problems, or supporting people that are making things happen. They are more of just looking at you or looking at people out there, looking at things. They just consume. That's all they do, which is fine. Okay. All these three categories of people I'm talking about, um, they are all fine, okay? But remember that the backtrack is that we're talking about how can you build a resilient mindset as a leader. So the third person is people that just watch things happen. They really don't care about intentionality about living. And I can remember this man, Kunle Sorinyo, said there are people that they are living and they are abusing their existence. So they just live. They are not interested in doing anything impactful. They just want to watch things happen. They are not interested in getting involved in anything, maybe politics or whatever it is. They are just living the life. So those are the three categories of people that I want us to look at. And a question that I will be laying emphasis on when I walk through all of this journey is to highlight this set of people and the people I think, based on my experience, you should be relating with in your journey as a leader and building a resilient mindset. So one of the things that you can do, and like I said earlier, I've been in the IT space, also worked around different industries, but everything circles around IT. I've been able to build a lot of connections, okay, valuable connections, and that has also helped me with building experience, okay, and also I can conveniently say now that I'm a resilient leader because I've got a resilient mindset. And over the years of my experience, I've come to realize that one of the critical things that you can do to build a resilient mindset as a leader is to find a way to connect with people in different sectors. Try as much as possible not to restrict yourself within the sector or your skill set area. So let's say, example, you're a photographer and all of the people you know are photographers or videographers within your circle. You don't have connection to different areas, different sectors, and all of that. And so in my journey as a leader, one of the things I was very intentional about was connecting with other people within other sectors. And I will use Nigeria as a case study here, or Africa as a case study. The truth is that over the years, I've been able to travel out of the African continent and go to the Western world. I've come to realize that we are all human, regardless of the color of your skin, okay? Regardless of your color of skin. And a lot of things that we think only happens in Nigeria, it's a big lie. It happens everywhere, in the sense that nepotism, fraud, all of those things happen everywhere. The Western world, on the African continent, is just sadly the media project that a lot to the Western world. But over the years, I've come to realize that resilient leadership that I've been able to build by touch basing and knowing people in different sectors also applies everywhere, all over the world. And so looking at my slide, the sectors I was able to connect with back in Africa, which I'm also very intentional about, living in Western world. I live in England now, but I still shuffle African continent back and forth. But you as a leader, or you are a budding leader that want to build a resilient mindset, you have to network with people in different sectors. And I'll give you a typical example of what I'm saying by trying to network with leaders or people in various sectors is example. Some of us might know this in Nigeria. We're trying to use Nigeria as a context here, where you have fuel scarcity. I remember when I was actively living back in Nigeria, if there is fuel scarcity, I don't feel it. The reason is because I can call someone in the oil and gas industry, maybe NNPC or any of these other oil and gas downstream sectors, and I get fuel. Same thing applies all over the world, to be very honest. So as a leader, you are building a mindset of a resilient leader. You need to be intentional about connecting with various people across all of these sectors, professionals across all of these sectors. Okay. And I highlighted one in red is global mobility, or Americans will call it global mobility. So all of these things that you have, all of these different sectors I've mentioned, one of the key things that you have to be very intentional about, especially if you want to build your resilience out of the continent of Africa, is find every possible way to be globally relevant, so you can move across different continents. And I'll ask some of you, maybe you're in Africa or anywhere all over the world, do you even have a passport? Let's say there's a conference or there's an important meeting that you need to travel to. Do you have a passport? Or that's your passport that you have now? Does it give you that access to travel to any country all over the world that you want to? So if you want to start from, say that appreciate your little journey, so you can start building within your local community that resilient mindset by connecting with different professionals within all of these sectors. And the list I've got here is not all encompassing, but it's just to give you a pointer to understand that yes, you have to be very intentional about connecting to professionals across the different industries, different sectors. Oh, maybe I'm traveling now and I've got issues with an airline. I should be able to call a professional within the airport or one of the airlines that can connect me to another airliner to get things done. So those are some of the things that you have to be very intentional about as a leader. Remember, when I defined a resilient leader is that adaptability and you being able to walk through challenges. So part of the things that can help you to walk through challenges is knowing people in different sectors. A friend of mine would say that know someone in every sector, and at the same time in your sector be a great leader that can be a point of reference to other sectors. I don't know if that makes sense. Let me give you a typical example. There have been conversations where someone wants to do something or organize an event in a state in Nigeria, and they need someone that can connect them to the governor of that state. Someone like me, I've been reached out to help do that. So that's what I'm saying. You can also be a link to connect to other sectors, and these are ways that help you to build a resilient leader mindset. So when we're talking about building this resilient mindset, there are some critical attributes that you need to have to build this resilient mindset. And a couple of them is the highlight here is building sustainable relationships. So if you want to build a sustainable relationship, your integrity is very important. A lot of guys that work with me or colleagues that work with me over the years, they know this about me. One of my core values as a person is integrity. If you don't have integrity, it's difficult to have that resilient mindset, because remember that you will go through challenges. So when you go through challenges, if you've had relationship with one or two professionals in those sectors I've mentioned in the earlier slide, but you've dealt with them without integrity, you've done stuff together before and there was no integrity as a person, then that will be a major challenge for you to build that resilient mindset. Because remember that the resilient mindset, yeah, is a personality, is personal, but at the same time, there are external factors that help you to build a resilient leadership mindset. Because once you become that leader, the truth is that the end goal of that resilient mindset is you being a leader. So is to be a global leader where people can reach out to you, and then you can help people. As you're helping, you go through challenges, you can leverage relationships and all that to go through it. So that's what I'm talking about. And then collaboration without ego, that is very important. And building sustainable relationship as a resilient leader is being intentional about what collaborating with people without ego. I'll give you a typical example where I've done a lot of stuff around. So I'm also the president of Tech Expo Africa. Is a tech exposition conference. Is also a community, but it's a social enterprise community. Is a not-for-profit organization where we expose diasporans, we expose Africans to technology exposition. Okay, we invite different speakers across all over the world, different sectors to come and talk and expose people to different trends of IT and all sorts of things like that. And one of the things I discovered is that collaboration sometimes you notice that people, there's a lot of ego for leaders. You're trying to reach out to people. Yeah, everyone is busy, but I always say this. It's just that in terms of your priority, you are not at the top priority of that person. That is why the person is not reaching out. If you are a critical solution provider to the person's problem, you'll be surprised that the person is not busy. Because I've been involved in dealing with governors and also at the presidential level. You will see that if the president of the country needs your attention, you will be amazed at how they would drop all that deprioritized things they are doing and focus on making sure that you can provide that solution to them. Okay. So if you want to achieve that, you should be very intentional about collaboration and without ego. Third point is excellent customer service support. So if you're a business owner and you are trying to build a resilient leadership mindset as a business owner, you have to be very intentional about your excellent customer service, your post-support service, your return policies. So when you deploy or you provide a service or a product to a customer, do you follow up to make sure that that customer is satisfied with that product or the service that you're rendering? And also taking serious feedback. Okay, taking feedback seriously. You, as a leader, you should have that mindset to. So part of what helps you to build that resilient mindset is to be open to taking feedback seriously. That's very important. Let's walk through. Then let's also talk about the growth through learning. I'm just going to weave through this. Is part of what you can do to build that resilient mindset is to what? Read books. So I don't just read random books. I read books based on recommendations. When people recommend a book, I just go and read it to know what is the mindset of that author. Okay. And that helps to. So there's a book I read some time ago by Soyombo, Fisayo Soyombo, called Vantage. It talks about when you read books sometimes or when you connect with people, it helps you to leverage what we call vantage point. Vantage point basically is that people that have done stuff ahead of you, instead of you starting from ground zero, you can leverage on that their experience and their knowledge and then start from ground one rather than starting from ground zero. I'll give you an example. You want to start an e-commerce business or a food chain business, and you're lucky to meet someone like Dangote, the richest black man in Africa, or I think all over the world, and you work with him for like 3 months. Do you know that you are leveraging maybe ground 10, not even ground one now? That's the vantage point. Imagine someone like that writes a book and share their level experience, how they've been able to build that multi-billion dollar company. Do you know what that means for you? It's a vantage point that you're leveraging. So try as much as possible to read valuable books that can help you. Okay. And also follow valuable people on your social media space, your Instagram. Who are the people that you listen to? Would you commit your ear time, your EAR? Who are the people that you commit your ear time to? Okay. That is also very important because the more you listen to valuable information, you listen to valuable people, before you know it, you kind of become them and build that your mindset, especially you are trying when you are looking at pivoting into that resilient leadership mindset. Follow people that you've seen that they are resilient, and then that helps you um, to come up to speed. And then attending conferences, meetup events, very important. Try as much as possible to attend conferences. Go for conferences are in within your industry. That helps you to collaborate with people, meet people. Also, experiencing and seeing to build effectively. One thing I always say is that if you do not experience something, there's no way you can be creative about it. So when you experience something, it helps you to be creative. I'll give you an example. Um, if you travel around the world or you travel to different continents, where as you build great memories, it also helps you to be creative. Okay, right? Sometimes you cannot build what you've not seen. So you need to experience something sometime, and that triggers some form of creativity in you. So what are the things that you are doing now to try as much as possible to expose yourself to the world, to expose yourself even within that your local community? What are you doing to get exposed? Okay, that's very important. And also artificial intelligence. And the sad thing is that based on data, Africans are not leveraging artificial intelligence. And these are ways that you can use to grow. Okay. Artificial intelligence. I'll tell you that the presentation I'm using right now, I think it was just this morning around 5:30. I just woke up, put some prompts on ChatGPT, and then instructed the prompt to generate a presentation slide for me, and there you go. So things like this, it makes you to be a more efficient, and then you are leveraging the tool, which is based on learning. So as you are building your resilient mindset, look at all medium that you can use to learn and come up to speed with that your mindset. Also, building a strong team. So this focuses more on business owner. So if you're a business owner and you want to build a resilient leadership mindset, these are some of the things you should tick as your core values. Your fairness and transparency still ties back to your integrity as a person. Are you fair? Have you got transparency with your staff members? That's very important. You consider your employee welfare. One of the greatest things I've heard or sometimes is that you cannot be a multi-millionaire working for someone. That is a big lie. It is a big lie. You can be a multi-millionaire working for someone if that leader is intentional about your success, and also you are very intentional about diversifying your skill set into leveraging other freelancing opportunities. If you go online right now, just go to Google and search on Google, how many millionaires in dollars do you have in Microsoft? You'll be amazed that we have over 2,000 millionaires in Microsoft as an organization. And there are a whole lot of organizations like that, companies like that, NVIDIA, a lot of companies out there that their employees are multi-millionaire. So as you are building a resilient mindset, let me say this give you this context. You don't have to be a business owner to build a resilient leadership mindset. You can be working for someone. You can be working in an organization, you're 9 to 5, and you're building a resilient leadership mindset. Okay, so that when you pivot as you are growing within the organization, I've seen stories of someone that joined a company as a security, and he grew up to build his resilient leadership mindset to become the CEO of the company. There's one in Nigeria, Oduduwa Corporation. The man was a security guard, joined the organization as a security guard, and over 30 years, he rose to be the CEO of the company. So everybody cannot build a company, but you can be the second category of people that I mentioned earlier. You can support people that make things happen. Okay. So emotional intelligence in business is also very important. How are you emotionally intelligent to people in the business that you are doing? That's very important. Okay, so because of time, just going to talk about the key lessons along the journey that I've learned myself over the 15 years, 20 years, when I started my whole IT journey. Is one, choosing friends and business partners wisely. So for me, if I circle back to the very first slide or second slide that was talking about who are the category of people that I've come to realize in my over the years of experience, I prefer to work with the first and second class of people or category of people. People that make things happen, people that support people that make things happen. The third one, yes, you can have them. Maybe some of them can be family and friends, but they can be family members. But when they are friends, and personally, I always say this to my kids too: you have every right to choose your friends, okay? And that's very important. You have every right to choose a friend. Don't let maybe schoolmates were initially friends, but you've noticed that they are in a third category of people. You have the right um, to boycott them and not talk to them, especially when you're trying to build that leadership mindset, whether as an employee or as a business owner. Also, avoiding unnecessary proposals. This goes to business owners. Over the When I was a majorly director in an organization, that's one of the things I discovered is that I actually stopped that organization from sending out proposals. And what they were doing is that if there's a project or if there's a request for proposal in an organization, we want to leverage our connection across the different sectors to find someone within the organization that we can poach and let them know about our service offering, and also in terms of the portfolio of the organization. So because when you talk about proposal, it's just trying to tell an organization or a company what you do as a company. But if you have someone entirely that can refer you and tell them that, oh, we know this company, we know what they can do, then that will greatly help you. Value-driven business or personal conversation. That's also very important. When you are talking with people, don't just be talking about things that are not going to add value to you. Be intentional about talking valuable conversations, having valuable conversations with people that will grow you, that will help you to build out your resilient mindset, hiring and firing to get the right fit. So yes, as a business owner, you have every right to hire and fire. So those are lessons I've learned over the years in my experience, building my mindset as a resilient leader. Don't be emotional as a business owner. If someone is not meeting up to your key performance index or the core values of organization, you have every right to fire and hire another person. Okay. Stopping when things aren't working. Yeah. If something is not working, you are doing something right now and you've done it like 10, maybe 3 years, 5 years, and you see that it's really not working, and the reason why you started it in terms of your why has changed, you have every right to stop it and pivot into something else. You can maybe like career person, if you think that that career is not working, especially with the future of things now with AI coming into play, AI is already here, right? You can also look at adapting. That's part of the mindset of a resilient leader. Adapt straight up, change your career if you need to do that, so that you don't become redundant within that your industry. Learning business processes and structures through internship, that's also very important. If you're a leader and you are intentional about building a resilient mindset, don't just go and start a company. I think that's one of the mistakes I've seen quite a lot of startup founders do. They just go and start a company without understanding business structure, without understanding what are the critical things that you need to know around that product offering or service offering. Find out if you need to do internship with an organization or you need to go and work with a company for 2 3 years to understand what it means to start a business. Then you should do that. Okay. So communication skill and being intentional about and being a likable person. Yes, that is something I've also discovered. Building a resilient mindset is you should be intentional about your communication skill. Okay. And there's something people always say, which I think is quite negative to me, is when you say, "That's my opinion, that is me, there's nothing I can do about it." No, I see people like that as failures. You should be intentional about your growth, and if you're building a resilient mindset, if you notice that your communication skill, maybe you don't have great public speaking skill, you can learn it. Be intentional, understand it. If maybe for some of us that work across different continents, and maybe is your accent is not clear to a team of a team or a business area we're working on, you can be intentional about your pronunciation. Okay, that's also very important. I'm sure a lot of you have seen on social media where people travel to other countries, and then when they're pronouncing things, the locals in that country say they don't understand what they're saying. Is everything is not racism. Sometimes you just have to look at inward and say, "Oh, am I what these people are saying is part of feedback. What these people are saying, is it right? What can I do to improve on it?" That can help you to build on your communication skill or improve on your communication skill, and also be a likable person. If you're an introvert or an extrovert, that is fine. But one of the things I've been able to do as a resilient leader, who's got a great mindset of resilience, is to be a likable person. Try as much as possible to be a likable person. Okay, try as much as possible to be a likable person. If you're taking a photo, smile on that photo, so that if you are not there and people see your photo, just seeing you smile can give some perception to you as a person. Okay, I'm almost done here. So 5 pillars of success that are able to help me to be wealthy in life and also to achieve a resilient mindset is: one, faith-driven approach. Do not joke with the place of God as you are building a resilient mindset as a leader. Divine favor is very important. I'm a faith person and I don't joke with that at all. And as a person that is also building a resilient mindset, do not joke with the place of God in everything that you do. Second point is integrity. That's a key pillar of success. If you've got integrity, to be honest, it makes it easier for you to have great, valuable friends, especially friends that are in the category of people that make things happen and people that support people that make things happen. When you've got integrity, it makes them want to refer you. They're happy to say, "Yes, I can stick myself, I can stick my neck for this person, be a guarantor to this person or to this leader." Third one is a skill set. You need to have a skill set as a leader or as a budding leader that is trying to build a resilient mindset, be intentional about building a skill set. Don't just live life without any value. Build a skill set. The more you are learning, the more you will earn from it one day. Take it from me. The more you learn, the more you will earn. When you learn whatever it is that you're learning, whatever skill set that it is, my 10-year-old daughter now, she can edit videos because the world is actually pivoting into, there's a lot of content now all over the world. People are churning out content. People are kickstarting their YouTube channels, and they need video editors. So you can start looking at how can I build life skills around all of this. Life skills gone beyond just a career of medical doctor and all of that. Life skill now, you can be a medical. There's a guy on YouTube, Ali Abdul. Some of you might know the guy. He was initially a medical doctor. Now is a YouTuber, and that is by just building a life skill and looking at how can I improve and add more skill to myself as a person. Location is also very important. I've got a friend who was initially like a business partner who will start business in Nigeria today. If he's not working within 1 year, he will relocate to Ghana and go and start again. Or if he's not working, he will move to Cote d'Ivoire. He was just hopping around. One thing that you need to be very intentional about as a leader who is building a resilient mindset is stay put. Now that the world is a global village, still have a location where is your base, and then from there you can touch point to every other place. You can be a local person but you're a global citizen, okay? And that's very important. Consistency is also important. Whatever skill set you have, maybe as a professional, be consistent about it. Don't leave this one today because you think it's not working. Within 6 months, you are moving to something else. It's not going to help you to build out your resilient mindset as a leader. Okay. And the last part is the wealth mindset. As a resilient leader, one of the things, I mean, the critical thing that you need to be very intentional about in life is that wealth and abundance mindset. And like I said on my post, and people that are close to me, I always tell them that I'm a wealthy person. And that definition sometimes give people that idea of when you say you are a wealthy person, is about material wealth. That's totally wrong. It's not only when you have material wealth that you are a wealthy person. And this book I read gave me this insight, The Psychology of Money. It actually focuses on three key things: family, relationships. What are the relationships that you built over the years? Friends, you have quality friends around you, your family members, if you are married, your children. How do you spend time with them? What are the healthy relationships you are building with them? Second one is your fitness. Don't just live life and be eating things anyhow. You don't do exercise, you don't do anything. Be intentional about your health so that you can stay fit. It's very important. If you have great health, yeah, that's why you see billionaires, some billionaires that they have their health is horrible and they are not enjoying that material wealth, so to speak. So, but if you are intentional about building that resilient mindset, you need to also be intentional about your fitness, your health, well-being. I've seen guys that they will go online and say, "Oh, I've been up since till 2 a.m. in the night or 4 a.m. I only sleep 2 or 3 hours every day." You are not building an abundance or wealth mindset, because when you make that material wealth, all right, and you have bad health, it's nothing. All right. The third one is freedom. That choice as a person that is building a wealth mindset, as a resilient leader, you must have that freedom, a choice. Choice in the sense that, especially that's your life skill or that skill set that you have, will help you to build that choice that you don't have to be restricted under someone. So if you, like I said earlier, you can be a multi-millionaire working for someone, and that delayed gratification. So when you're working for people, what are the things that you're looking out for that can also help you to add more value to you, maybe in terms of your material possession, mindset build up in terms of learning and all of that. So that choice of freedom, the more information they are gathering, the more people you know across different sectors, kind of give you choice that, okay, as a 9 to 5er, if you lose your job today, in the next 1 or 2 months, do you have friends that you can call across other industries that will get you a job in the next 1 or 2 months? Those are the kind of freedom you should be looking at to build out your wealth mindset. And in all of these I've mentioned, the main goal that you should focus on is defining your rich life. Okay, define your rich life. Don't let any other person define your rich life. For me, I could say that my rich life is I like to drive executive cars. Okay, someone can say their rich life is they want to have a massive mansion. That's your choice. Someone else's rich life can be I want to have a condo or a small house on an island and I'm fine. I'm just going to live there with my family. That's the definition of rich life. Don't look at the internet or the social media space and use that to start building your own rich life. Especially when you look at a lot of people that flaunt wealth or material possession, not wealth here now. And you are also looking at, oh, I want to be like that person, and then you really don't care about how you go about it. If you see opportunity for fraud, oh, I want to delve into it. That is not good for you, especially if you are building a resilient mindset as a leader. Be define what your rich life will be. And I hope that is going to help you. So thank you very much for the opportunity, John, and all the audience that have watched. Thank you. I'll use my mic back to John here.
Oh my goodness. I just feel like we should just continue this session. All right. I really believe that for as many as are listening right now would. I mean, I personally I was just writing. It's like it's really very very powerful. Thank you so much for this presentation. I really believe that by the time we even work on this particular video and cut it out for other people to see, to listen and to see what you said, I think what you said, you presented it very simple enough for people to really apply it to their lives. All right, thank you so much, thank you so much. All right, we'll
Thank you
take a
very much, John.
very short break now. We'll just take a message from one of our sponsors, then we'll just be right back to go into the Q&A. So again, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, you know, any opinion, please put it in the comment box. I will definitely check you out. See you soon. Okay, so you are welcome back, everybody. Once again, just before we go into the question and answer session, I want to appreciate our guest again. Thank you so much, Mr. Shola Kenny. We
Thank you
are
very
really,
much.
really excited. We are super, super excited. I mean, I personally
I'm
have
also
been
excited, John.
waiting. I personally have been waiting, preparing the ground, all right, for for a session like this, and I'm really excited that we are able to come out this way. Just before we go to the question and answer, I quickly want to also appreciate our sponsors. All right, want to appreciate Shokeni Solutions. Thank you so much for sponsoring this event. And again, of course, some of you that you will receive gifts today. I know some of you received gifts last session. All right, so some of you that you're receiving gifts today is specifically sponsored by Shokeni Solutions. All right, so if you, I have the questions already. So, but I think I should even give you the first question before I go into. Before I take your question, I should give you my question. All right, so the first question is, I want somebody, there is something very key that our guest mentioned today. All right. In all of its points, that particular point kept repeating itself. What is that point? All right. It's just something very simple. I'm just looking, when you are marking WAEC, there is a key point. So amongst the stories you'll be saying, I'll be looking for that key point. So that's going to be the first question. But let me go into your question. Mr. Shala, we have some questions here that some of the audience asked during the registration. This one is from a student. He said, as a student juggling academics and leadership responsibility in school clubs and fellowships, how do I build resilience when things feel overwhelming or when team members are not operating? Mm. Over to you, sir.
Mm. Yeah, thank you very much, John. Thanks to that person that has asked that question. Well, I would use my life also as example here because I also play a musical instrument, the drums, many years. back in, I think it was even secondary school days and also through my university days. So I was able to work with different fellowship leaders, members across the those fellowships. And one thing I realized, yeah, I was also doing some form of freelancing. Okay, I was going to a fellowship as a musician, and also I had like a freelance business I was doing consulting for a mortgage bank and also fitting school. But one of the things I would first say to that person that has asked the question is that you need to first understand your purpose of going to the school. And the purpose of going to the school is for academics. Okay. So whatever it is that you are doing out of academics, see them as secondary priority. Once the secondary priority is becoming your primary priority, then it will actually affect you. Yes, you are trying to build that resilient mindset. However, you want to first make sure the first context to that question is that make sure that you prioritize, know your primary priority and your secondary priority. Okay. So let's now look at the secondary priority now based on the question. It seems the person is having some trouble dealing with managing the fellowship team members, managing academics, and also maybe one other things that the person is doing. One thing you need to learn as a resilient leader is you need to learn to trust people. Yes, people might not be able to do things to your excellent idea or the way you like to do things. You have to learn to trust people so that they can build when you give them that responsibility. And another thing you want to try and do is I would advise, based on my own experiences, start delegating. Okay. You cannot do everything. So when you delegate to people, trust them that they can do it. And the truth is that even if they mess up with it, see it as a learning curve between for that person, because you also want people around you to build a resilient leadership mindset. So, but when you don't give them responsibility, there's no way they will be able to build that resilient mindset as a leader. Okay. So to answer that your question, I would say that try as much as possible to prioritize your primary and secondary responsibility, and then um, do what we call load balancing, delegate your task. Okay. And the third one that comes to mind now is that try to use calendar. Don't be a yes person. Yes, that's a very good point. Don't be a yes person, especially in fellowship. I'm sorry to say this, but it's an experience I was able to gain and got clarity about it. When it comes to spirituality or things of fellowship or church, you tend to be guilt tripped that when you don't do things, maybe you don't go for a fellowship event or a church program, and maybe you are one of the leaders and you've got maybe a test the next day, you can be guilt tripped that, oh, this person is not serious about the things of God. No, that's not the primary responsibility at that time. You should be focusing on your primary responsibility, and the fellowship activities should be your secondary responsibility. Okay. But the way you can also manage it for yourself is start using your calendar. In case you have not started using that, have if you have an event, put it on your calendar. If someone calls you and they need your attention somewhere, if you look at your calendar, it's fixed. Learn to say no. You cannot be a yes person if you are building a resilient mindset. And I hope that helps you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And I really love the way you started. But I would want your opinion. I mean, I've gotten quite a lot of people's opinion about this subject matter, and it has been the same. So, but I want you to also speak concerning this popular statement, especially among students,
Yeah.
especially among graduates, that school is scam. All right. I know maybe it's a little bit digression from what we are saying, but I think I know we have students listening to me right now and listening to us, watching us right now. I don't know whether you could really speak about, yeah, there is prayer outside. That's clear. There is lesser opportunity compared to those kind of people coming out from the campuses. But can you
Yeah.
really clarify, or let me take your statements on the statement school is scam. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, I'm putting you on the spotlight, but that's fine. Very well. I'll share my opinion and I will give it into context. Okay. which I think by leaving the shores of African continent and actually going to other continents, relating with other race of people, gave me that balanced perspective about school is calm. Okay, the truth is that in context one, school is not scam. School is not scam in the sense that you're learning. When you learn and you go through the school, what do you learn from the school? For me, I graduated. I'm a proud Federal University of Technology Akure graduate, and I can say that school is not scam. I went through FUTA. I was able to meet friends. I was able to learn things that helped me with my brain capacity. So I studied physics electronics, and I can remember one lecturer say it was one exam. A guy was asked a question, and I was very slow to respond. The lecturer said, "You are in physics and you cannot think fast." So sometimes when you do some of these courses, it helps you to build that right mindset to understand that yes, you can learn and understand what you are doing. So for the context A, if you want to be a career person that is focusing on maybe medical line, or you want to be a lawyer, all those conventional career pathway, school is not a scam for you. Okay. The second context B, which will allude to the fact that school is a scam, is that if you are a videographer, you are a YouTube content creator, and if you create a video, you have 5 million viewers, or let's say you have 2 million followers or subscribers, and then when you release a video, you have 5 million viewers. You have organizations that, so on, maybe on a 15 minutes video, you have 4 companies that are advertising on that your video. Do you need to go to school to achieve that, John?
No, sir.
So when we look at that other context, or context B, that school is a scam. For the context B, I would say yes to it. School is a scam because you don't have to be a graduate to achieve that. Especially with the way the world is changing now, where you are not restricted to you have to be a medical doctor. And it's good that parents also seeing that now. Now you have people that are video editors, they are type copywriters, where AI is taking that away anyways. But you can be a business analyst, you can be a product owner, you can be a scrum master, you can be a data analyst, and you don't need to be a graduate. I know someone in England who has O level, they call it WAEC in Africa. The person is a business analyst and earns £500 per day. The truth is that the person, when you ask the person, is school a scam? It will say 100%, yes, school is a scam, right? But a medical doctor will never say school is a scam because it needs to go through that learning structure to be a medical doctor. So, based on my opinion, I hope that helps to give two context to it and actually understanding what you want for yourself. Remember, my last point on my slide was you need to define what your rich life is. And all of this that we're talking about, school is scam, school is not scam. What is the end point of all of this thing? Is to be able to be financially stable, right? To have a life, you have a family. If you want to travel, you can achieve whatever it is you want to achieve. So when you are defining your rich life, then you will know for yourself that if school is a scam for you or school is not a scam for you. I hope that gives some context to my opinion. So I'm not for A or I'm not for B. It's about your personality. I think that, yeah, that question should be personal to individuals to decide that will I say school is a scam or school is not a scam. If I decide now that, the truth is that I've never used my BScs and my BTech from school. I've never used it before all through my life. But I will still tell you that school is not a scam. In my opinion, focusing on the context A and context B. I can play within context A and context B as a personality. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, that's very powerful. I think one underlining message from what you said now is education is just paramount. Whether
Yes.
you are going through the school system or you just get educated anyway, right? So So
Yes,
yeah,
I
thank you
think
so
that's
much for
another
that.
right
Thank you.
context to it, John. If we're saying
Mm,
school is a scam, what is that definition of the school that we're talking about? Are we talking about Coursera as a school? Are we talking about a physical school where you get trained as those conventional career path, or the school you're talking about now? So if we're looking at it in that context of, oh, the school is learning via education, then we can say that school is not a scam.
right. Right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I'm really excited that you responded to that question. Thank you so much. Let me quickly
Thank you.
say this for those of you that you're already responding to the question. I've seen some answers here, but I'm still
Okay.
not seeing the key key answer that I'm looking for. So keep attempting. All right, so keep attempting. When I get the right answer, I'm going to mention the winner. Sir, I have another question here. This one is from a business owner. All right, she said, I am a business owner, and sometimes the financial pressure makes me want to quit. How do I
Mm,
develop the kind of mindset that helps me push through tough seasons?
right. Okay. This question is quite relative, or we'll try to give you some context. If a person is going through financial burden on the business, it depends on what the person is doing. So I'll put it, maybe I should relate it with my experience. One of the things, and I think it applies across board anyways, if you're a business owner, one thing you want to be very intentional about is diversification. Don't restrict yourself to a specific stream of that your business. And the truth is that no matter the business that you do, check it, check across board, check on Google or check data, use AI. Every business, every service offering can have diversification. So you can have sub services or sub products on a within the context of what we are looking at. So if you are going through financial burden, the first question you need to ask yourself is, what am I offering to a customer? Am I solving a problem? I think that's one of the critical questions that that person needs to answer themselves. So you are doing a business, you are a business owner. That business that you're doing, is this solving a problem? If it is solving a problem, so if we move away from that context now that, oh, it's actually solving a problem, you have customers and you are making money, but the money you are making, there seems to be a lot of expenditure that is collecting that money. Then we need to now have another conversation about how are you managing your funds. That is also very important. As a business owner, one thing you want to be very important, very careful with is separate your personality from your business. So Victor is different from Tech Expo Africa. Okay, if Tech Expo Africa is a company and is making money, the money that that company is making, it does not necessarily mean it is my money. Yes, I founded it, I birthed the idea of the company, but when you look at yourself as a business owner, the truth is that you need to ask yourself, am I a business owner or an entrepreneur? If you are a business owner, that means you are just doing the business to feed yourself, to buy clothes, to buy cars. But if you're an entrepreneur, you want to build a legacy that is beyond you. Ask yourself, if I die today, will that business still be sustainable? If you can answer that question, then it will help you to know that, okay, this business I'm doing, if it's giving me financial burden, then I'm running a one-man business show, or I'm just a business owner. If I die today, the business will also die with it. So one thing you can do yourself, if this is actually affecting your mental health, one thing I always say is that get a job that pays your bills until your passion start paying. I'll say that again. Get a job that pays your bills until your passion start paying. So if you are going through a lot of financial burden with that your business, it is not bad for you to go and join a company and do a 9 to 5. When you're able to build and you understand structure, you understand what it means to start a business, you understand what it means to manage financials, then you can start the business on the side. And then over time, once you be able to get a good grasp of that business, then you leave the 9 to 5 and focus on the business. I hope that helps that person.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. That was a very good one. Thank you, sir. I have one here, sir. He said, "How can I stay focused on long-term goals when short-term setbacks like job loss or failed venture keep distracting and discouraging me.
Hmm. So the thing is that it still goes back to the question of what do you define as your rich life? Personally,
Mm,
what is your definition of a rich life? So it's normal to lose a job, it's normal to fail a business. Okay, that is it. In fact, I always say this that it is not normal for things to be normal all the time. Okay, it is
mm,
not normal for things to be normal all the time. So if you are in a job and you are losing job, maybe within 6 months or 1 year, you are losing a job. Is it because of economic factor or your personality? Have you asked yourself, what is it that I'm doing? Is it that I'm not valuable to this company? Okay. That's one of the things you need to first ask yourself, that what value do I bring to the table to this company that I'm working for? Okay. And ask yourself, am I in the category of people that make things happen or people that support people that make things happen? So if you support people that make things happen, let's say you are working, you mentioned that you are working in a company, ask yourself, what skill or what value am I bringing to the table? If you think you are not bringing any value aside from the task that you have been given to do, then there's a problem there. Okay. So first thing is look inward, understand what is the problem, why are these setbacks coming in. When you understand why the setbacks is coming in, and so another thing is that the person had mentioned that their long-term goal. What is the definition of that your long-term goal? Do you have the definition of that your long-term goal? So if you have that clarity, remember when I defined that a resilient mindset, a leadership mindset, a resilient leadership mindset, you need to have that clarity so that when you go through challenges, remember that you are going through it. You are not within that challenge. You are just going through it. So see it as a learning curve, that for every failure, it's a stepping stone to build experience. I remember there was a story about one old man that they called to come and check his sheep, and they asked, and he looked at the sheep and he said, "Yes, I can fix it." They told him, "How much will he charge?" I think he said he was going to charge $1 million, and then they said, "Oh, they are happy to pay him." So when they signed the contract, he just went under somewhere and knocked something, and the engine came up. And they were like, it was just within 1 minute you fix this thing. Why should we pay you $1 million? He said, that's the experience because I failed before in this. It was a challenge, but that challenge helped me to build. For some of the guys that work with me, they know me. I love challenges. I love that. It's not really a failure like that, but when there's a setback, it's an experience that builds, because part of the resilient leadership mindset is that when you go through challenges, that is what helps you to build that resilient mindset, that when you are involved in some issues or situations that failure that you've experienced before require that experience, it makes you stand out in that scenario, okay, or that situation. I hope that helps the person to give some clarity to their ask.
Well, thank you so much for that. That's very clear, sir. Thank you so much. Let me quickly say this again. For
Yes.
those of you trying to attempt the question, let me make it simpler. In one word, somebody answered it. So don't let me bother myself again. I wanted to, so I am looking for the keyword. The keyword I'm looking for is relationship. All right. And Mr. Dare, you mentioned building sustainable relationship. That's actually the word I'm looking for. Correct. So I'm going to tell you how you are going to get your gift. So the second question, before I
Congratulations to the
go back
person.
to your question, is Mr. Shola mentioned 5 pillars of success. All right. 5 pillars of success. I'm going to give you pass mark if you're able to get 4 out of it. All right. So 5 pillars of success. That's the next question. 5 pillars of success. And I have a question here. Um, So yeah, okay. The question says, how can one sponsor? Okay, so if you want to sponsor this event or advertise on this platform, I already left the answer there. So you can mail us at livegoatsinternational@gmail.com. All right. So you can mail us at livegoatsinternational@gmail.com. Okay. So let's go back to the questions. I know people are excited with the responses you are getting. All right. Okay, so this is a very interesting one, Mr. Shola.
Yep.
It says that in my workplace, I often feel overlooked despite putting in hard work. How can I maintain a positive and resilient mindset in an environment that does not always recognize efforts?
Mm. This is an interesting question. And the reason why I say it's an interesting question is that there are so many scenarios that's coming to my mind. If I meet the person, I think this would be like a 20 to 30 minutes conversation with the writer of that question. However, I think we just give it a generic response about working in an organization and you feel that you are not valuable, you are not seen, right? So let me make it generic. When I'm an employee, I work with a company, okay? And you know one thing that there's no organization that I've not worked with. This is being recorded. There's no organization that I've worked with that they don't recognize my value. And the question is, how have you been able to achieve this? One of the things that I do not joke with is, which is the key point today, is building sustainable relationship. In that company that you're working, do you have, they used to say that your people that you work with in an organization are not your friends. Yes, they're not your friends, but do you make yourself a likable person within that company? And what are the things that you can make that can help you to be a likable person? Is when you walk into the organization, do you say hello to people you don't know? Do you say hello to them? Are you intentional about just office friendship? Do you do that? If there is opportunity to go outside and maybe have fun after the old 9 to 5, maybe there is a summer break and all of that, and the company wants to gather somewhere, do you go out with them? Another thing is that company where you're working, what are you bringing to the table? What value are you adding to that company? I remember I'm sharing my life experience here. Any organization I've worked with, I go beyond that portfolio of the job I've been given. I try as much as possible to help them get more customers. In fact, working in the Western world now, in the Western world, when this is your job portfolio, that is what you're expected to do. If you're doing out of that, it might look like, this man, what are you doing? But when you're trying to bring money into the company, you will be heard, you will be seen. Okay. Be One of the things you should do, which is generic, is that be an advocate of that company. Okay. When you are an advocate of that company, do you talk about the company? Do you go the extra mile and go and see the director of the company or maybe one of your line manager and say, oh, I just spoke to someone about this organization and they want us to provide a service to them. Let's say the company you're working for is a service offering company. Have you tried to help the company to get, let's use the concept of Nigeria. Have you tried to help the company get a 10 million naira project before? So that's one thing. Another thing is that how do you, your personality, how are you intentional about your personality? Okay. So what are the points to building your personality? Your communication skill is very important. Your look, you need to be very conscious of about yourself. Okay. You see a lot of people, they are working for organizations, they don't really care, they just wear any kind of clothes and all of that. I'm not talking about fake it till you make it here, but your look. When you look good, you feel confident, you feel comfortable with yourself. Okay, your hair, how well kept is it? When you're wearing your corporate wear, do you does your company allow you to talk in? Even if they don't allow you to talk in, you can decide to start talking in and go to the office corporate. I remember when I was doing my internship in an organization as an intern, I was an IT student. I would wear suits to the office sometimes. In fact, there was a day some consultants came into that office. They were asking my line manager, "Who is that guy?" I was I will wear suits to the office sometimes. I was looking so different that some when consultants come to that organization back in VIA in Lagos, then they'll be asking my manager, "Who is that guy?" I'm seen because of the way I look. So as a person, Are you intentional about the way you look? When you walk into your office space, do they see, that sweet guy? And when you're talking about look, I've come to realize over the years that you don't need to wear expensive school things. You don't need to wear 1 million naira worth of wristwatch, or your shirt is 100,000 naira. I remember back in the years then, I'll go and buy, there's some guys in the pattern then that they sell next shirts, all this corporate well tailored fabrics like shirts. And when I wear it, I feel proud myself. So you ask yourself some of these things, that when you even go to your place of work, do you iron your clothes? It's as little as that. When you don't major on those things, it might look minor, but there are things that actually make you, it's part of the personality, the aura that you give when you walk into your office. Okay. I remember many years then, I noticed I was waking up in 2 a.m. in the night to be pressing my clothes. It was not convenient anymore. I decided to get a laundry person that was doing laundry for me. That when I walk into that place, even the gator on my clothes, they'll be like, this guy. So things like that, you have to be very intentional about it. These are things that make you sing within the organization. The way you look is very intentional. Do you leave your hair tattered? Do you just do wear any kind of clothing into the office? You will never be seen. But when you do things, bring values to the organization, go and learn, go for conferences, meet people, expose yourself. Remember what I said earlier, try and connect with professionals across different sectors. If you don't have a social account, start talking about your service offering on your social account. Those are things that helps you to be seen within the organization. I hope that helps the person anyways. Like I said, I'm a man of
Ah,
many words. You know how to keep going. Yeah.
oh goodness. All right, thank you so much. That was a that was a very powerful one, sir. I mean, I really believe that a lot of people will find this very, very, very relatable. Very, very relatable.
Mm.
Uh, I still have it, but I used to tell people this, that don't be quick to come to the conclusion that there is no solution to your problem. All right.
Sure.
And many a times the reason is because you don't have the right education. All right. For example, the person that asked this question, or somebody going through something like this, might just feel people hate me. And it might be as simple as
Exactly.
your dressing, that if you just change your dressing, it will be as if you use charm. Right.
Exactly.
But
100%.
but
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
Yes. Those little
Th-
things that
thank
we don't
thank
pay
you so
attention
much.
to. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. All right. So before I move to the next question, we are gradually coming to the end of this question and answer. Thank you, Mr. Austin. I believe Augustine, Mr. Augustine, you got the second question. You said location, integrity, consistency, skill set, and faith. All right, so that is very correct. Those are the 5 pillars of success as mentioned by our guest. So I have Mr. Dari on my playlist and Mr. Augustine. All right, so let me mention the last question. I have 3 questions here. Let me mention the last question. Um, so our guest also mentioned something about the wealth mindset. The wealth mindset. He mentioned 3 things. So in fact, 4 things. All right, 3 were bulleted. The last one was standing on its own. So what are those 4 things? This one you must get the O 4 before I give you any, before you enter my playlist. All right, so let me go back to the question again. The last question is, I guess mention something about, or some things about wealth mindset. What are those 4 things?
Yeah.
Mr. Shola, we are really gradually coming to an end. I think I just have 2 more questions to ask. The next one is going to be from someone. He said, what are some daily habits or routines I can practice to strengthen my mental and emotional resilience, especially as a professional dealing with high prayer?
Hmm. Great. Okay. You see, the first thing you can do, and it's a direct answer to that question, is get exposed to information that will answer those questions. And what do I mean by getting exposed to those information is that it's still, so you define what you want. Always define whatever you want as a leader. It gives you that clarity as a leader. All right, that is building that resilient mindset. You need to always give clarity to whatever it is that you're doing. That is 100% very important. When you give clarity to that thing that you're looking for, which helps you to define what your rich life is. Don't forget that rich life is not just only material possession. It's those three wealth points that I've made earlier. When you understand that, expose yourself to information. So when you expose yourself to information, when some of those life challenges are coming in terms of that high pressure, the knowledge that you have will help you to knock it off. Okay. And let me now go to part of the first, like, I think that the A side of the question is the daily routine. You have to define what your daily routine is. If I tell you what my daily routine is, now it might not work for you. If I show you my calendar, what I've got on my calendar is crazy in terms of things that I do, that I had to get a colleague that works with me as an executive assistant just to help me manage some heavy lifting. But for you, I don't know what you've achieved in terms of connections that you've made, a lot of that, and maybe it's your business that is giving you that pressure. If business is giving you pressure, that means you are not um, delegating tasks. You want to do everything yourself. You will kill yourself in no time, if that is the context of your question. So one thing you want to do is get someone to help you with that pressure that you're facing. Okay, if it's something that you are doing as a task, then you need to start looking at shelving that load to other things. And one of the things you also need to ask yourself is, which I used to discuss with my friends, is Pareto rule, 80-20 rule. If you are putting effort, the effort you are putting into something, let's say you are putting 20% effort and it's giving you 80% results, compared to when you put 80% effort into something and it gives you 20% effort results, I'd rather prioritize the 20% effort I'm putting into something that is giving me 80% result than putting 80% into something and it's giving me 20% result. That's theory, but let me break it down for you in a practical sense. So you have a business in, let's say you have a business in Africa, right? You have a business in Nigeria as a context, and that business, yeah, I'll give you two examples to break it down. You have a business in Nigeria, you are selling a product to Nigerians, and that product costs maybe 500 naira per piece. Okay. But if you decide to export that product and sell it to people in the UK, and they're buying that product for £5, £5 is very minute to someone in England compared to someone in Nigeria. So in Nigeria, the product is 500 naira, but when you export it to England, you are selling it for £5. That is 5,000 naira compared to Nigerian £5. £5 is even 10,000 naira. Let's say that's about 2,000 naira per pound. So £5, that's 5 times 2, that's 10,000 naira for that same product you are selling at 500 naira in Nigeria. Or if you take it out of the shores of the continent, you are going to make, that's how many X? X9. So if you look at the effort, why are you paying effort into that Nigerian market if you see that that product is quality enough and it can go to the international market? Why not focus on the international market? That's 20% effort, but you are getting 80% back, rather than putting a lot of effort into the Nigerian market and it's giving you 20% back. Does that make sense? And the second part to it is, this guy recently, this one of our great musicians, what's his name again? Burna Boy. Burna Boy recently shared that a lot of artists or actors, that they are always shouting that, oh, I have 1 million stream in Nigeria. If you have 1 million views on your intellectual property in Nigeria, it is only about $300 to $400. But if you have that same content in the US and 1 million people view it in the US, you earn about $3,000 to $4,000 on the same content. Can you see that? So for that person that's talking about high pressure, you need to start. So if you can't have all this information if you don't expose yourself to taking in. If you need to commit 6 months or 1 year of your life to just taking in information around that thing that you do, it will take you far. Rather than putting a lot of pressure into something that is not giving you great results, you can do that same thing somewhere else and it gives you great result times 10 on what you are doing currently. I hope that helps to give the person context to the question. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. That's a very powerful one. That's a very powerful one. Now, and in addition to what you said, there was a Eisenhower matrix I learned some times ago, talking
Yeah.
about the what's it called? Talking about four quadrants. The thing just skipped my mind now. Talking about four quadrants, about certain things are urgent and important. He said there are certain things that are urgent and important, you do it immediately. There are certain things that are urgent but not important. If it is urgent but not important, you delegate it.
Exactly.
There are certain
Exactly.
things that are not urgent but are important. You schedule them. All right. And there are certain
Exactly.
things that are not urgent and not important. All right. Those
That's
things you
correct.
definitely discard them. I think people feeling pressured, if you could actually split your activity, you will know that, okay, maybe there are certain things you have to delegate. There are certain things you have
Exactly.
to schedule to another time. There are certain things you really have to discard. All right. Thank you so
Exactly.
much.
And John,
Thank you so
let
much,
me
sir.
quickly add to that. Sorry, I know we are running over time, but I think this will greatly
Yes.
help people.
Please
It's
go ahead,
not
sir.
a must you become a billionaire because before you start putting structure into whatever you are doing. Right now,
Mm.
if you're a business owner, you should have a business line and your personal line. When it is a weekend, if your service offering does not sell to customers at weekend, then put that office line somewhere and focus on your personal line. You should be that there has to be that disparity between yourself and the business. Start putting structures in place. To put structure into your business, it will help you with that pressure that you don't have to kill yourself as a business owner and someone that is building a resilient mindset. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. That's a very powerful additional input. Thank you so much, sir. I think someone already answered my last question. That will be Joy. She was the first person to respond to it. She said, family, fitness, freedom, and defining your rich life. Thank you, Joy. So again, Mr. Dari, Mr. Austin, Mr. Augustine, and Miss Joy, please kindly message me at Life Growth International, all right, via email. Just mention to me that you are the person, Mr. Dari, Mr. Augustine, and Miss Joy. All right, so please kindly mention, message me. Okay, so the last questions, thank you so much once again. I mean, I just feel like actually we have more questions here, right? But I
Right.
will just take this last one randomly. This person said, I am managing a team of young people in a non-profit, and keeping them motivated is draining. What's the best way to stay resilient when you are constantly pouring into others?
Mm,
Mm.
okay. So the person is managing a team in a not-for-profit,
Yeah.
right? What's the second part of that question? I want to make sure I get it clearly. It's a very interesting question.
I am managing a team of young people in a non-profit, yes, and keeping them motivated is draining. What
Okay,
is the
good.
best way to stay resilient when you are constantly pouring into others?
Okay. The direct answer to that question, I have the direct answer to that question. And the direct answer is that if you are paying them well, they will be motivated. That's the truth. But it's a not for profit. And I believe that you guys are doing it to add value to impact lives. Okay. So if I understand the context of that question is, let's say those people are volunteering. I think it's right to give you that context, right, John? Maybe they are
Yes,
volunteering,
volunteering.
those team members.
Yes, sir.
They are
Yes, sir.
volunteering. So let's say they are volunteering because if they are getting paid and they are frustrating you, then fire and hire again.
Yeah.
So but the context is that okay, they are volunteering. Yes, they are volunteering, but one thing you want to do to make sure that they are motivated is that what are you doing to help them meet their rich life definition? So when I say rich life definition now, it might be the financial. They also need financial independence. Maybe they've got family or they have a career they want to build. Things like that. Majorly, their success. Are you intentional about the success of those team members, of those volunteers? If they are frustrating you, have you created a time to ensure you have like a weekly check-in with them to know what they are going through? What can you do as a person? If let's say you two are kind of struggling, maybe financially or in terms of network, people that you know, personally, what are you doing to also make sure that you can meet up to the expectation and meet the expectation of those team members? So at this point, if you think you are not actually meeting up to expectation as a person, then you need to ask yourself a question: should you be doing the not for profit in the first place? See, John, I think another thing I've come to realize is that people want to do philanthropic work when they are not yet stable financially, emotionally, in all ramifications. Don't do things because others are doing it. You need to first build capacity, especially when you're doing not for profit. You need to, I can tell you for free, as a president of Tech Expo Africa, there are the previous conferences that we had, there are instances where I put in 1 million naira, 2 million naira into the program. It's a not-for-profit organization, but the vision is that we're impacting life, we're exposing participants, we're exposing people to technological trends. I see that as my community service, and because I've got capacity to do it, the truth is that we're facing challenges too in terms of team members trying to keep them motivated. But when you're looking at how do you keep them motivated, you need to look at what are you doing to ensure that they are also successful in whatever it is that they are doing. Are you putting in place free training for them to get trained in that their field of career? What it is that you are doing? Maybe there is a program that you guys are going. What incentive are you giving to encourage them to be part of it? Okay, it's not for profit. Maybe you get grants. When the grant come in, are you the only one that is swallowing the whole funds? When the funds come in, are you transparent with the team members to let them know this is what has come in? We want to put maybe 40% to the not-for-profit, and then 60% can be used to appreciate every team member within the organization. That alone will motivate the team members. So to back to that question, you have to ask yourself that, do I understand the needs of these team members? Am I meeting the needs, the individual needs of these team members? And then in terms of their expectations, is that not for profit meeting the expectations of those team members? Some of them are volunteering because they want to also be seen. They want maybe their business to be seen, or they want to leverage that not for profit to know more people, to connect with professionals. Is that not for profit? Is that meeting the needs of those team members? If it's not meeting the needs of those members, then you need to go back to your drawing board and see how you can help them to achieve that. I can tell you for free, it will keep them motivated, but you have to keep working to ensure that you keep them motivated. It's a continuum. Don't think that when you motivate them today, you expect that motivation to just keep them going. No, it's never going to work. So it's part of why you need to define your why. Why have you started not for profit? If you understand why you've started that not for profit, then it keeps you going based on the vision of the picture of where you are going with that not for profit to keep the members motivated. I hope that helps the person.
Wow, yeah, it's even helped me. So it will definitely help the person. But really, really, thank you so much, sir. I mean, this is a very, very, very good and productive conversation, and I really know that those watching us now, those who will be watching us after now, will definitely have something to really practice. All right. I really love the way you use analogy to you used examples to really pass down the message. I feel people find it much relatable when
Mm.
examples are used. All right. Once again, Mr. Shola Kenny, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for showing up. All
Thanks for
right.
having me.
Before we go, Mr. Shola, we often have some questions. I really believe that maybe hopefully by next year, when our system here is top top on the scale, or I don't know what English to use there. By the time I'm
Mm.
asking this question, I will be asking drum roll. I will be asking for drum roll. So, but there
All
are
right.
three very simple questions. It's actually out of the subject matter. All right, it's
Okay.
just to help our audience to understand our guests better. They are just three very basic questions
Okay.
to that we ask all of our guests to just better understand them. All right. So the first question, sir, is if you meet 7-year-old self, what would you tell him? If you meet your 7-year-old self, what
Mm.
would you tell him?
If I meet my 7-year-old self, what would I tell my 7-year-old self? What I would tell my 7-year-old self is, ah, that's a very, hmm, because I'm trying to relate with my 7-year-old son now, and the idea I currently have, and when I was still very young, um, I think what the advice I would give my 7-year-old self is to be more hygienic. Yes, I think because in my early years, um, I think this actually applies to a lot of young people, anyways. I mean, young lads, we don't really care about hygiene. Sometimes you can decide you won't brush your mouth for 2, 3 days, things like that. So, because for a 7-year old, I don't think you will even be thinking of career or any of things like that. You just want to play and play and play. Oh yeah, one of the things I'll tell my 7-year-old self is be intentional about my hygiene as a young
Mm,
lad. Yeah, because why I've said that is I remember vividly my early years in life when I go to school. Some of the things that people used to it's funny in primary school and secondary school what where people use things to bully you. They will tell you, "Oh, your mouth is smelling," things like that. But you know that truly you still brush like 2, 3 days. Oh yeah, you brushed, but you just rushed it off, and then that's it. You touched off. So yeah, I think that's one of the things. That's what I will tell my 7-year-old self. Yeah.
right. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so the next question, sir, is right now, what book? I mean, you mentioned a lot about book during your presentation. So what book or what resource would you recommend to anybody right now that on any subject of life? Just one particular book that or one particular resource that you recommend to anybody to just glean on right now.
Okay. If it's book, there are a lot of fantastic books I've read, but the one that I would like to share based on the digital content economy now is Show Your Work by Austin Jones. If I remember the second name, Austin, Show Your Work. Is if you read that book, it's going to trigger your mindset to understand that whatever it is that you're doing, you need to show your work. You need to start documenting those amazing things that you're doing. I was privileged, or I'm privileged to, yeah, I would say I was privileged to be recognized as a global talent in the United Kingdom. Okay. And one of the things that helped me to get that endorsement was documenting things I was doing, showing the work that I was doing on social media. Remember that on social media, it's a digital footprint. Whatever it is that you're posting on social media, it's internet never forgets.
Yeah.
So when you show your work, what you are doing right now, John, you might not know the result now, but I tell you, in the next 5 years, you'll be amazed what you are doing right now in terms of showing your work, showing your skill set, showing people. In fact, as a person, I'm showing myself to the world right now because I don't know whoever is going to watch it. But when you understand that you need to show your work, it's not just about owning a business. You can be a professional working in 9 to 5. I've said it before, you can be a multi-millionaire working for someone. Just show your work. If you are just a technical clerk, what do? Are you part of communities to tell people about your technical clerk work? Show your work to people, show your work online. It's a digital economy now. You see someone that just have 500 views and the company will reach out. Can you play 10 seconds video on your platform? We'll give you $1,000. These things are
Mm,
real. So
true.
yeah, show your work. Austin Jones, if I remember Jones, if it's Jones, I can quickly check it anyways. But yeah, that's the book I recommend.
Right. Thank you so much for that. Show Your Work by Austin Jones. I will definitely check out that book. All right. So the last question, sir, would be if there was
Austin Kleon, sorry,
anybody
that's the name.
you
Austin Kleon. K L
what?
E O N. Austin Kleon.
Oh,
K
okay.
L
Cleon.
E
Okay.
O N. Yeah, Kleon.
All right.
Yeah,
Cleon. All right.
Austin
Thank
Kleon.
you, sir. Thank you so much. Right. So, yes, thank you so much, very much for that, sir. So the last question is, if there was anybody you would love to, whether dead or alive, if there was anybody you would love to meet, whether dead or alive, who would that person be, and what would you tell, ask, or discuss with that person?
Ah, that's an interesting one. If there's anybody, if it was a deity now, and I said I want to meet God and ask him, how did he pull off creating Earth? How did he pull off creation, the procreation of human, of lives? Yeah, but yes. However, if it's about meeting someone, I think it's Elon Musk that I would love to meet, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to meet him anyways. Yes, to ask him, I really want to understand that his brain, how he sees things. Yeah, I mean, Elon Musk has gone beyond just the continent now. He's now doing galactical. He's looking at the Mars,
Mm,
moon. Those are the things he's looking at now. He's gone beyond even our continent. I mean, he's gone beyond our space, Earth. Now he's looking
yeah.
at the other galaxies. And yeah, it's mind blowing to see people that are thinking beyond the local space of the space that we're in, and they are thinking out completely. That's mind blowing, to be honest. Yeah, so that's the person I would love to meet and just speak to him like 5 minutes. I'm sure 5 minutes with such a person will blow my mind to see beyond. Because, like I said earlier, if you don't experience something, there's no way you could be creative about it. So the caliber of relationship that you build sometimes help you. And I remember like 7 years ago or 10 years ago when I started meeting some great people, creme de la creme, creme de la creme, people that have great connections and all of that. When you have conversation with them, there's a way they lift you. It's not a motivational speaker. There's a difference between a motivational speaker and someone that do things, a doer. When a doer talks, they give you proofs to show it. And there's a way to motivate you and change your mindset. There's a mindset shift. So when yeah, let me not say too much because we've overrun our time. But that's the person I would love to meet, and I'm
All
going to
right.
meet the person.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing. Thank you so much, sir. Once again, our guest today is Mr. Shola Kenny, Mr. Victor Olushola Kehinde. Thank you so much for coming to Live Growth with Olafisoye Ige. Before we release Mr. Shola Kenny tonight, I know Mr. Shola Kenny will just, sir, we would love you to just give us a parting word, all right? Maybe somebody is just coming in right now and wants to just hear one final thing about this subject matter of building resilience as a leader. So over to you, sir.
I think I've said so many things this evening, or if it's in the morning, if someone is watching us from New Zealand. But I've said so many things. Uh, I'll just leverage the points I've mentioned is define your rich life. Don't let the pressure of the internet put you through unnecessary. I mean, don't let the euphoria, the mirage of the social media space put you under unnecessary pressure. Define what your own rich life is. That is it poem now or a reading then that says, roll, roll, roll your boat gentle down the stream. It's your boat, it's not someone else's boat. Okay. So when you roll down your boat, it's your boat, it's your life. Define what your rich life is. You can decide that your rich life is I want to buy Ferrari. That's your definition of a rich life. Someone else can decide, I don't want to buy a house, I want to rent a house and drive Ferrari. That's their definition of rich life. Don't look at people on social media and use that to define your own rich life. Yes, it's good to aspire, right? Understanding, maybe follow mentors that you see what they are doing, they share it. But remember that some of these mentors that you are seeing online, some of them have what we call 300 missing pages. What do I mean by that? When they interview them, how did you become a billionaire? It's God. So those are 300 missing pages. They were involved in one shady thing or the other, and then they did what they call laundering and converted that into investing into things. And then before you know it, they became a billionaire and leveraging on that front of, oh, I'm a billionaire, I have corporations and all of that. But really, if you follow through their journey of growth, they have a missing page that they will never want to share on the social space or anywhere is a secret. So define what your rich life is and stay by it.
Oh, all right. Thank you so much. Once again, our guest is Mr. Shola Kenny. Mr. Shola, thank you so much for coming again.
Thank
And
you very much for
until
having
another
me.
time, we'll see you again. God bless you. Thank you so much, sir. Bye, sir.
Thank you. And thanks everyone. Bye.
All right. So, everyone, thank you so much. This was a very wonderful session. I know you will agree with me totally. All right. I am really looking forward to how we can work on editing this video as fast as we can so that we can push it out for you guys. Those of you that you want to share it with your audience, you know. But I want to say a very big thank you once again to Mr. Shola. And for those that want the gifts, I want to say please do well to message Life Growth International at gmail.com. Message Life Growth International at gmail.com to receive your gifts. I also want to appreciate Shokeni Solutions. All right. I want to appreciate Shokeni Solutions. Shokeni Solutions, our major sponsor in this event. Thank you so much, Shokeni Solutions. Please do well to follow them on Instagram, on Facebook at Show Kenny Solutions. At Show Kenny Solutions. Also, feel free. Also on one of our sponsors, we also have Stiola Innovation. All right, Stiola Innovation, Stiola Innovation. Thank you so much. All right. Also, please follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Stiola Innovation. All right. This is me and you. Until another time, we'll be meeting again. All right. Just like my village people will say, if I do well, we'll be like honey. Our meeting again will be like honey. But I'm really excited. I hope you are. Thank you so much. Maybe we will still see again this month. But please do well to follow Live Go to Olafisoye Ige on Apple Music, on Spotify, on Amazon Music. Subscribe to this channel on YouTube. Follow me on LinkedIn. All right. Basically, we talk about personal development, professional development, spiritual growth, what have you. Oh, and lastly, the last announcement I have for you guys is that Growth Confluence 2025 is coming. All right. Growth Confluence 2025 is coming. I'm actually announcing this to make a commitment to myself. All right. Because this year's conference is going to be hybrid. So we'll be having a physical conference this year. So I want to say it here so that I'll make sure we do it. All right. And this year, the theme, you want to know the theme? All right. Wait till the next program before I tell you the theme. All right. But this year's conference is going to be very massive. It's going to be our first physical conference. All right, we are taking that quantum leap. We are taking that big step this year. All right, massive step. All right, so please join us by God's grace. All right, so thank you so much. Until next time, we'll see. God bless you.